Hello everyone and welcome to this week's behind the scenes devlog video. So the release date for Equilinox has now been set. As I said in the last video, it's going to be released on the 23rd of November. So this week and obviously for the next few weeks, I really need to start finishing everything off and polishing the game up and getting everything ready for release. So today's Tuesday. Yesterday I was doing a bit more work on the website designs, and I also had a chat with Constantine, the web developer who's going to be implementing the designs. And we talked a bit about that multi-layer parallax effect that I briefly mentioned in the last video, and we created a test version with some placeholder images just to see how it would look, and I think it looks really good, and it's definitely something I want to use for the website. So later this week I'm going to be creating some better images to use for that. But today is bug fixing day, so I'm just going to be working through a few more bug reports. So just been working on fixing the first bug of the day, which is to do with sound. Some entities in the game, like the beehive here, continuously emit a certain sound, so the beehive here is creating that buzzing sound. Unfortunately, as you can hear, when I delete the beehive, the sound continues to play because the sounds node was just being left in the world. So I have now fixed that, and you can see that when I delete the beehive here, the sound fades out nicely. Next up today, I had a slightly different type of task to do because one of the rewards for the Patreon supporters, for the top tier Patreon supporters, is that they get their names in the credits of Equilinox. And I've been using Patreon for quite a while, so there are quite a lot of different names to get, and it would take quite a long time to do that manually. So I downloaded the CSV file report for each month that I was on Patreon, so each of these is just a list of all the Patreon supporters for that month, and then I've quickly written a program to go through all of these files and extract a unique list of all the names of the top Patreon supporters over the last years. So if I go ahead and run this, you can see that it prints out a nice list of all the names, which I can then just copy and paste into the credits of Equilinox. And now if I go ahead and run the game, you can see that all of those names have now made it into the credits. 3:30 now, and unfortunately I don't have anything else to show you at the moment because the electricity has been off for the last couple of hours. There's a lot of work going on in the road outside, and apparently it's something to do with that. So I haven't really been able to do anything. I've just been cleaning the house and waiting for it to come back on again. So I was finally able to get back to doing some bug fixing, and I fixed a few more bugs. So for example, to do with trait modification, for animals that had traits that were higher than usual, reducing that trait would basically cost nothing no matter how much you reduce it, which obviously it should cost something. Then there was also an issue to do with the generation number. So the generation number shows you which generation this plant is. So for example, if this daisy has offspring, those would be generation 13. But if you evolve a new species, so I've just used that daisy to evolve a new species of buttercup, they also inherit the generation number, and they shouldn't, because obviously this is a first generation buttercup, so the generation number should have reset. And finally, there was an issue to do with the icons that show above entities' heads sometimes. They wouldn't show up when the entity is underwater, like this seaweed here. And I didn't actually fix this, but I know exactly why it's happening, and I know exactly how to fix it. But it's going to involve some reshuffling in the engine, and I'm going to be doing some of that next week, so I'll fix this bug next week. So I'm pretty much finished for the evening now, and I'm going to get outside for a bit and enjoy the last few minutes of sun today. Wednesday morning now, coming up to 9 o'clock, just had a bit of breakfast and I'm going to get started in a minute. And the plan for today is to create the images for the parallax effect for the website. So the main difficulty with creating these images for the layers of the parallax effect is getting the background to be transparent. And the way that I did it for the test images was to set the sky color in Equilinox to be red, and I then took a screenshot of that, and then in GIMP I can simply select the red color and delete it, and that works fairly well. But if I zoom in, you can see that around the objects, because of the anti-aliasing, there's still a bit of the red colour. So ideally what I'd like to be able to do would be to set the sky colour in Equilinox to be transparent, and then take a screenshot of that. And I can set the sky colour to be transparent, but then obviously if I try taking a screenshot of that in the normal way, the transparency would be lost. So what I've been working on this morning is an inbuilt way in the game to take a screenshot of whatever's on the screen. And I have now got that working, so in the game I just have to press a key, and that now takes a screenshot and saves it to a file here. And you can see that that has all worked nicely. Unfortunately though, I still haven't got it working with transparency. Somewhere along the line the transparency gets lost, so I still need to do a bit of work on that. But I need to take a break now because I've arranged to play paddle tennis with a few friends today, which is a really cool sport. I played it for the first time last week and it's a lot of fun. So I got back from tennis a while ago and I pretty much straight away managed to find a fix for the transparency issue. I was just really overthinking it earlier. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. So I can now set the background colour to whatever I want, and if you have a close look you can see that the outlines of all the objects are very clean and it all looks very good. So I can now start creating the images for the layers of the parallax effect. To make the creation of these images a little bit easier for myself, I've just very quickly, in a very hacky way, made a temporary creative mode in Equilinox, so that I can place objects that are fully grown and I don't have to wait for them to grow, and they won't die either. So it just makes this whole process a little bit easier. So I finished creating a few layers for the parallax effect now, and you can see them here. Pretty happy with them. Maybe the middle one could do with a bit more work, but we'll try these out on the website tomorrow. Thursday morning, and so far today I've just been doing a bit of admin stuff, answering a few important emails, and now I'm preparing for the translations. I think I'm going to get the game translated into German early next week. But when you export the translations from the website that I'm going to use, the file format is slightly different from the one that I need for Equilinox. Like the separators are different and the columns are in a bit of a different order. So I've just quickly written a program that converts from their file format to the file format for the language file in Equilinox. Just quickly going back to the images for the parallax effects, I thought I'd try adding a bit of blur to the background images to create a kind of depth of field effect, to add more of a sense of depth. And this would also allow me to use lower quality images for the blurred images, which would be good for performance. And I also thought that if I have foreground elements like the logo here or a button to buy the game, then having a blurred background would make them stand out a bit more. Just been doing loads of different things for the rest of the morning today. I was collecting together screenshots, creating some promotional images for marketing. I also started filling in some information for the press kits and also for the Steam page, and I just made some very rough plans for the trailer video as well. So yeah, there's a lot to do before release, I realise, but it should be fine. I'll get there. So back to doing a bit of work on the parallax effect again. Sorry that this video is so parallax effect heavy. But Constantine has now created a test version of the parallax effect using those new images that I made earlier, and I've also just been tweaking the images again, trying to make them look a little bit better. You can see I've added some animals to the front image, and we're going to try another test in a minute with the depth of field effect. 6 o'clock now, and you'll be happy to hear that I think we are now finally finished with the parallax effect, and you can see the final version of that here. And I'm really happy with it. I think it works very nicely, especially with the depth of field effects. I think that definitely helps to bring attention to the foreground elements, and it did look nice without the depth of field as well, but I just felt that the background was a little bit too busy. There was a bit too much going on for a background. So I'm finished for the day now, and this evening I'm going into the city again to meet some friends for dinner. Good morning everyone, it is 8:30 on a very sunny Friday morning. I'm just on the way back from the post office. I had to go and collect something quickly. But today I'm going to be doing a bit of balancing work in Equilinox, and I also need to finish off planning for the translations. 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, and this morning, as I said, I was just doing some balancing work, so nothing particularly exciting to show you there. And now this afternoon I'm going to get started with doing the editing for this video. So that's pretty much going to be it for this week. I've got a few more things planned to do at the weekend. I'm also going on a trip tomorrow to do some sightseeing in the local area while the weather's still fairly nice, and I'll probably put some footage of that in the background here. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this week's video. Before I finish though, I need to give a big shout out to the top Patreon supporters from last month, who were Josh Gill, Cole Fodoraro, Milan, Claudia Dimitru, Charlie Quigley, Austin Adamson, George Angelopoulos, Danny D, Renee Dam, Andrew Witt, Caffeine Coda, Marek Mikolajczyk, Timothy Gibbons, The Fifth Blue Sky, Michael De Schmet, Wolfgang, Dylan Thompson, Jeffrey Goudsvard, Miguel Diaz-Rivas, Alberto Spina, Sean McCrory, Michael Merck, Benjamin Fuller and Alexander Chavez. So a massive thank you to you guys, and of course everyone else supporting me on Patreon. For this week though, that is it. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time.